A&M win big at an event, but the silence speaks louder than the victory. In the unpredictable world of showbiz, moments of triumph and tension sometimes happen side by side. That seems to be the case now for Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza, as fans celebrate a recent victory, while quietly noticing something that feels different. Yes, A&M reportedly Panolo in a recent event. But behind the applause, there's a growing conversation about what wasn't seen. No greetings. No visible interaction between families. No warmth that fans once recognized instantly. And for many, that silence is louder than the win itself. A victory that should feel complete. Winning an event, whether it's an award, recognition, or public support, is always something to celebrate. For Alden and Maine, victories like these are reminders of the impact they continue to have. Even after years, their names still carry weight. Their presence still draws attention. Their story still resonates. Fans should be celebrating without hesitation. And yet, something feels incomplete. Because for those who have followed their journey closely, it was never just about wins. It was about connection. The missing piece. No Batian. What has caught the attention of many is not what happened, but what didn't. There were no visible exchanges between the families. No greetings that fans used to look forward to. No small gestures that once meant everything. In Filipino culture, especially in matters involving relationships, Batian, simple greetings between families, carry deep meaning. It represents respect. It reflects harmony. It shows connection beyond just two individuals. So when that element seems absent, it naturally raises questions. The silence fans can't ignore. Fans are known for noticing the smallest details. A glance, a reaction, even the lack of one. And this time, the silence didn't go unnoticed. Some supporters are asking, was it intentional? Was it simply a coincidence? Or does it reflect something deeper? No one has confirmed anything. But in a story where even the smallest moments once held meaning, silence becomes something people try to understand. Celebration mixed with concern. This is what makes the situation so emotional. On one hand, fans are proud. They celebrate the recognition, the success, the continued relevance of Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza. On the other hand, there is concern, because the absence of warmth, especially in moments that should feel joyful, creates a sense of distance. And that distance is hard to ignore, when not everything is meant to be public. Of course, it's also important to consider another perspective. Not everything is meant to be seen. Family relationships, personal dynamics, and private interactions are not always displayed publicly. What fans see is only a small part of a much bigger reality. It's possible that nothing is wrong. It's possible that everything is simply being kept private. But when a story has been built so openly in the past, even privacy can feel like a change, a more mature reality. Time changes everything. The dynamics that once felt open and shared may now be more guarded, more personal, more selective. And that's not necessarily negative. It can be a sign of growth, of boundaries, of choosing what to share and what to keep private. For Alden and Maine, this could simply reflect a more mature phase of their lives, one where not every moment is meant for public consumption. Fans caught in between. Once again, fans find themselves in a familiar place, between what they see and what they feel. They celebrate the win, but question the silence. They feel proud, but also uncertain. And in that space, emotions become mixed. Some choose to ignore the issue and focus on the success. Others can't help but wonder what it all means. Both reactions are valid. The story beyond the headlines. What makes this situation compelling is that it's not just about one event. It's about everything that came before it. Because when a story has been built on visible connection, even a small absence can feel significant. And that's why this moment matters. Not because of what was confirmed, but because of what was noticed. Final reflection. More than just a win. At the end of the day, the victory is real. But so is the silence. For Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza, this moment reflects something deeper than success. It reflects change. Whether that change is temporary, intentional, or simply misunderstood, only they truly know. An unspoken chapter. As fans continue to discuss what they saw and what they didn't see, one thing becomes clear. The story is still unfolding. Not loudly, not clearly, but quietly. And sometimes, it is in these quiet moments that the most meaningful truths begin to reveal themselves. For now, fans celebrate the win. But they also continue to watch. Because in a story like this, even silence has something to say. The quiet after the noise. After the celebration fades and the event ends, what remains is not always what was expected. For Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza, the applause may still echo in people's memories, but the silence that followed seems to echo even louder. This is often how moments like these unfold. A big win, a moment of recognition, and then questions. Questions that do not always receive answers. When distance becomes noticeable. Fans have always been quick to notice change. And in this case, the change is not loud or dramatic. It is subtle. A difference in presence. A shift in interaction. A quiet gap where warmth once seemed natural. The absence of a simple greeting, something once expected and even anticipated, has become a point of reflection. Not because it defines anything, but because it reminds people of what used to be. The meaning fans attach to moments. For supporters, especially those who have followed A&M for years, even small gestures carried weight. A nod, a smile, a brief exchange. These weren't just actions, they were symbols. Symbols of connection. Symbols of respect. Symbols of something deeper that fans interpreted in their own ways. So when those symbols are no longer visible, it creates a sense of imbalance. Not necessarily because something is wrong, but because something feels different. Reality versus expectation. There is always a gap between what fans expect and what actually happens. Fans hope to see warm interactions, public acknowledgement, familiar closeness. But reality often operates on a different level, one that is more private, more controlled, and sometimes less expressive. For Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza, this reality may simply reflect where they are in their lives now. Not everything needs to be shown. Not everything needs to be shared. And not everything needs to match the expectations of the audience. The pressure of being watched. Living under constant public attention is not easy. Every movement is observed. Every silence is analyzed. Every decision is discussed. And sometimes, this pressure leads to restraint. Instead of acting naturally, individuals may become more cautious, more aware of how their actions will be perceived. This can explain why certain interactions no longer appear the way they once did. Not because the feelings are gone, but because the environment has changed. What the silence could mean. Silence does not always mean absence. It can mean respect for boundaries, a shift toward privacy, a focus on personal growth, or simply a natural change over time. In the case of Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza, the silence leaves room for interpretation, but not confirmation. And that space can be both comforting and confusing. Fans learning to let go of control. One of the hardest things for fans to accept is this: they cannot control the story. They can support. They can hope. They can watch. But they cannot decide what happens between two people's lives. And as time passes, many supporters begin to understand this. They begin to shift from expectation, acceptance, attachment, appreciation, demands, support. This is a quiet but powerful transformation, a new kind of support. Support does not disappear when things change. It evolves. Fans may no longer expect the same interactions. They may no longer look for the same signs. But they continue to support, individually, respectfully, and without pressure. This kind of support is different. It is calmer. It is more understanding. And in many ways, it is more genuine. The unwritten truth. There are truths in every story that are never spoken aloud, not because they are hidden, but because they are personal. And in situations like this, it becomes clear that not every question will be answered, not every moment will be explained, and not every silence will be filled. Closing the chapter, without closing the heart. As the conversation continues, one thing remains constant. The story of Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza is still important to many people, even if it changes, even if it quiets down, even if it moves in a different direction. It is not forgotten. Final reflection. What truly matters? At the end of the day, what matters most is not what fans see, but what the individuals themselves choose to live. Their happiness, their peace, their personal journeys. Those are the things that define the present. And for fans, the most meaningful role now is simple: to respect, to understand, and to continue supporting without conditions. Because sometimes the greatest form of love is letting things be.